Hi everyone, a very good morning. It's a beautiful Sunday morning here in Surat where we are. And I will just wait for 5 more minutes before we begin. And I'm sorry, there is some technical issue because of which everyone is appearing as my name, Divya Kalra. So I'd request you all to, so we don't feel like I'm talking to too many of Divyas. If you could please rename yourselves so we know who's on the call. For renaming, you just have to click on your name in the participants window. And there's a more button where when you click that more button, there is something called rename. You can rename yourself using that. Okay, we'll begin now. I'll briefly start with my own introduction. My name is Divya Kalra. I think you all have seen it now. And so I'm based out of Surat in Gujarat. And in my previous life, I like to say that I worked in the IT industry for about 8 years. And now I'm full time involved with Innovate for India, and you'll know more about Innovate for India as we move ahead. From the last 4 years, I've been running a music school more as a service provider to various musicians in the city of Surat. I've lived and worked in various countries like France, Germany, India, of course, China, uh, and Czech Republic. And so I'll kind of, I'll at this point, I'll hand over to Amit to begin with the presentation, and I'll briefly introduce him to you before. So we are both sharing the same screen. He's my husband as well. He's the founder of Innovate for India, and uh, to give you a brief introduction about him, he is in the executive board of Hilti, which is a Swiss-based company, and he's passionate about transformation of organizational cultures. He's also a keynote speaker of a very of his own original content related to ambition to vision, which is very well received in many IITs and IIMs and Isha Leadership Academy and many other leadership academies of the world. And I'll now hand over the screen to Amit to move ahead.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So let me just share the screen and then we can begin. So welcome to this presentation today on, or rather a discussion today on why Innovate for India. So we'll be talking more about what is Innovate for India and what does it mean, what will it do, how can you get involved. So a lot of these aspects will get covered today. We'll also introduce you to our team. Now, to start with, I'm going to make it a little interactive. So what you see here is a picture, okay? And in this picture, what you see is a landfill, okay? It's a land filled largely with domestic waste, okay? And see, India currently spends about 7,000 crore rupees on bringing the waste to the landfill sites. Okay, so that's the bill that India pays to transfer the waste from the point of origin to these landfill sites. And these landfill sites are practically in all the cities across all the towns of India. Not just 7,000 crore is spent on the logistics, but also a lot of land is occupied. A lot of poisonous gases are generated from this landfill. And now coming to the question that I want to ask you. So Innovate for India is largely about generating innovation in India. We are about building a culture of innovation in India. We are about activating the young minds of India to think about innovation that makes India better. And we largely do that by asking questions. So if you would ask me in one line, how would I describe Innovate for India? Innovate for India is an organization that is all about asking questions. That is all about framing questions. That is all about generating problem statements. So I want to ask you, or rather you can help me here. When you see this picture, can you frame a question that would lead to certain innovation? And I give you like half a minute to frame a question. And once you have framed the question, please write it in the chat box. So we want to see what kind of question do you frame when you see this picture, which is a landfill site filled with a lot of, domestic and other kinds of waste. What question would you frame that would lead to a certain innovation? And once you have framed the question, just write in the chat box. So I'm giving you like, okay. So somebody says, why spoil and then repair? Interesting. So your question is aiming towards he reduced the waste. That's a very good question, Sri Kumar. Thanks for asking. Other questions? How can we help minimize waste generation? Okay, somebody says define waste. Well, let's leave it aside. Is it possible to avoid anyone to be there in such a toxic environment? Okay. How can we get rid of this toxic waste in minimal cost? And that's an interesting question. Okay, what else? Suggest a waste management model that would lead to minimum processing and investment. Wonderful. Can this waste be segregated? Or rather, a leading question would be, how do we segregate? Correct. So Abhimanyu asked that, how do we segregate and recycle waste? That's a very interesting question. How to recycle own household waste at home? Wow. Okay. What are the means and ways of upcycling waste? Wonderful. So exactly. So these are the kind of questions that we want to frame, and we do that framing after a lot of research. Obviously, many of these questions have answers. Many times the answers are not known. Many times the answers are known, but they are not scaled up. They have not become a phenomena yet. So what Innovate for India does it, we pick such questions, we try to answer these questions, we make better questions, and once the questions are framed, then we float it in the market for open innovation or for crowdsourcing. Yeah. Another picture I want to show you is, so here you see some women using cell phones, right? It's a little older picture. You see some women using cell phones, and largely, I mean, cell phone is largely used for internet today. Yeah, apart from calling. So the question that came to our mind is that a lot of people in India, especially the so-called well-to-do people in India, we are using the potential of internet to the maximum. We are using internet basically to sell goods, to buy services, to sell services, to find partners, to talk to somebody else, to get entertained, to get information, to acquire knowledge and whatnot, right? Even to acquire degrees these days. So potential of internet by the so-called well-to-do people is on a very high level. But in India, you also have a large amount of people living in rural India, or a large amount of population living in urban India, who are the so-called, bottom of the pyramid people. What are the opportunities for them to harness the potential of internet, right? So that is another question that we are kind of framing right now. I want to ask you one question. When you look at these people, what ideas come to your mind? See, I mean, example, Jugnu uh, basically looked at the efficiency of rickshaw drivers. So they created an application, and rickshaw drivers using that application, which is the potential of internet. They are able to make their daily professional life a little bit more efficient, right? And there are some similar examples that have happened for bottom of the pyramid people of India, or for the unorganized sector of India. What ideas come to your mind when I ask the question, how can the potential of internet create better lives for bottom of the pyramid people? So just take a moment to think about it, and then write it in the chat box. The question is, how can the potential of internet be used for creating better future and better life for bottom of the pyramid people? Any thoughts, any ideas? So we have recently launched this challenge in a university in Gujarat, and we have exactly given them this challenge. Hey, how can the potential, what applications, technologies, platforms, um, websites can be created for bottom of the pyramid people, or for rather poor people, which makes their lives better. Like rickshaw drivers, life became better with Jugno. Okay, so somebody says agriculture tracking for organic food supply. Hey, that's interesting. Day-to-day upgrading them with the word. Okay, I did not understand that. Education, hospitality, business, jobs. That's a very broad answer. First, define the metrics that show quality of life, and finding solutions to metrics that are bad. Okay, that's little philosophical. Internet gives opportunity to learn irrespective of age, location, That's interesting. Internet connect rural goods to urban markets. That's interesting. Can the entire village and go for holistic growth example based on demand and supply? Okay, that's a little theory. If you can give practical, so example, I give you a wonderful example. There is a company called Hak Darshak. What they have done is they have realized that government every year creates a budget of 10 more than 10 lakh crores largely for the poor segment of India or the rural segment of India, and this budget, it's very hard to make this budget reach to the last mile people. So what they've done is they have an application, a technology where these people are enrolled, and then Hak Darshak helps them with practically with the whole value chain, such that they can avail the benefits that are released by the government every year. That is called linking the unlinked. Uh, Hand embroidery. Okay, that's a very nice. It's a very nice example, right? Supply chain should be completely powered online, unlike done manually in rural areas. That's a good one. Information to farmers. Okay, what kind of information to farmers? Another question. What kind of information to farmers? Fine. So I think now you got a little flavor. Why I showed you two these pictures is because I wanted to give you a little flavor about what Innovate for India is. Innovate for India is largely about framing such questions and how it happened. Why Innovate for India? It was more or less a light bulb moment for us while we were volunteering elsewhere in a local foundation. That India has a millions of challenges, but also a billion minds to solve those challenges. However, the challenges are not framed, and there is a very little structure in place to connect the challenges with the people who possess the capability or passion to solve the challenges. So, all in all, we do not see a widespread culture of innovation in India, and we want to address that. Well, in bits and pieces, quite a lot is happening. I think we are strong admirers of something called Honeybee Network. There is a Srishti. So all of these were launched by Anil Gupta. Indian government has been doing quite a. I mean, they have started uh, framing challenges, and they have started involving citizens to answer those challenges through their website called innovate.mygov.in. So some efforts have already begun in India, and we are an addition to that. Okay, we are in addition to that, and all what we want to do is basically we said, hey, the purpose was born, and the purpose that was born is to create a culture of innovation in India for most pressing India's problems through crowdsourcing. Uh, so how does our model work? What we call is our circle of innovation. So what we do is we do it in 4 steps. First, we build communities of purpose that can change India, and the way I will describe you what these communities of purpose are. And these communities of purpose are present in this. So there are people. Communities is nothing but people. These people are present today. Today we are a team of about 12 plus people who are running these communities of purpose that can change India. These communities of purpose then they look at India, they scan India, they look at the challenges in India, they look at the opportunities in India, and based on that they frame questions that can change India. And once these questions are framed, then we convert these questions into challenge contests that can change India. A challenge contest is nothing but a competition. Okay, a competition that can create innovation. And we have recently launched last Saturday one such contest in a college in Surat, Gujarat, where currently about 250 plus students are participating in a team. So there are about 50 teams that are getting generated right now, and they will participate in the challenge called linking the unlinked. And the winners will win a certain grant so that they can bring the challenge on the ground from that. And uh, and so the last step is what I described. We build communities of solvers. So currently we have done it in a college, but in very soon we will also be creating communities of solvers in the open market. And currently we are using, for example, Telegram as a platform to gather like-minded people, to gather people who have similar interests. And Divya will explain you more on how these communities of solvers are getting formed. As I said, there are two models. One is the university model, which is well contained. It's easier to launch a challenge there. It's easier to track, and then in parallel there will be an open market model where innovators, experienced innovators from all across India can join the Telegram group, and they will become aware as soon as a challenge is launched. Right. So that's what we call as our circle of innovation. It starts with communities of purpose. They frame questions. Questions are converted into challenge contest. Challenge contest are then floated to the community of solvers that can change India. So what we said is we want to frame 108 questions by 2021 and build a community of 2 lakh innovators by 2025. So with that, I think to go deeper into this topic, I'll hand over to Divya. She will explain you the next steps.
Hi, everyone, again. So as Amit mentioned in the previous circle of innovation, so I'll first explain about how we are building the communities of purpose that can change India. So I'll just give you some examples of, the communities that we have currently running. So one of the communities that Amit is currently handling leading is Waste to Wealth. That's the first community of purpose. And within communities of purpose, we create campaigns. Now that I'm currently running the campaign of linking the unlinked, and in shortly each of us will be talking about the particular campaign that we are running and what is the progress that we have made and how far we have reached there. As Amit said, so basically these communities of purpose are feeding into questions, and those questions are then launched as challenge contests. So Guru Amrita is leading the community of Rural Connect, and Abhimanyu Rathi, he's running the community of Jal Vitran. Abhimanyu, would you like to say hi briefly here, Abhimanyu?
Hi, hello everyone. How are you?
Great. And Guru Amrita, I think, had some technical issue. Is she in the meeting now?
No, she's not.
I think not there yet. Okay. So, so yeah, each team forms, each leader forms a core team of 4 to 5 members who are like researchers or passionate about the topic, who can scan India and then frame the challenges and also build communities around those campaigns. And Prasad Sant, he's also there online. Prasad, you're there, right?
Yes, I'm there.
Yeah, hi Prasad. So Prasad is it's a very newly started campaign which is called Connected India, and we are obviously going. There are so many different range of problems that we have in India, and so we are always looking for more campaigns to be starting and led by people who are very passionate in that topic. So how are we running these campaigns and communities? Where are we placing these communities? So Telegram gives a lot of advantage for placing these communities. So we have we have currently, since we have 4 community campaigns running currently. So we have 4 Telegram groups, each running around the campaign. So for example, linking the unlinked, all the people who are working on that particular campaign are the ones who are interested to solve problems, or are interested to frame questions, or have some kind of interest either out of passion or out of the kind of work that they do. So they get involved in one or the other campaign based on their interest. And Innovate for India has also a core group which is basically we talk about everything under the sun in terms of innovation in India. And these groups are no nonsense groups. So we say sometimes like-minded. There are certain things which bring us together because, we all want innovation to happen in India. And at the same time, there are everyone who's part of the group is also very diverse in their understanding, in their perspectives. And that's how we are able to really spark very interesting discussions on the Telegram group. So in a while, I will be sharing with you all the links of these Telegram groups. If you have not part of it, you are welcome to join. It's by invitation. They are not public links. Then I will tell you about how we are launching the challenge. So we talked about communities of purpose. We talked about framing the questions, and those questions are then going to be launched. because then only the innovation will happen. So we ask the questions in such a way that it, there are at least 5 to 10 ideas that one can think of just at looking at the question. So we go with the design principles to keep the question broad enough, and at the same time, narrow enough to not, to have a streamlined ideation phase. So in the challenge contest, we are using two models. One is the university model that Amit also briefly touched upon. The other model is the open market model. So it's open model where anyone and everyone can participate in solution in problem solving. The university model is, it's a closed model, obviously, because we are like for the first one that we've launched in the Gujarat Technological University. Here, the challenge that we launched is the linking the unlinked, and I'll talk a little bit more about it, although we've touched upon it briefly as well. So the first challenge that we launched was under the SSIP fund, which Gujarat government offers. It's called Student Startup Innovation Policy Fund. And under this fund, government gives funds for innovation by startups from the students community. So we are helping the college use this fund in an effective way to drive innovation through the college model. The winners will get, it is run like a competition, and then the winners who are, who bring out a good idea and in the design phase, when they show a prototype or a model, then they get, grants on to do some early work on their innovation. So this is the idea in the university model. The other model is the open model. So open model is anyone and everyone. I mean, there are some, I think 39 people here. There are in our community up to now. Now we are, I think, 4 months in. So since the ideation to now has been 4 months, and we have now touched upon, I think, around 500, close to 500 people who have shown interest, either to be part of this movement, or to be register themselves as solvers, or to come forward to frame the questions, and so on and so forth. So we'll be also talking a little bit more as to how you all can get involved in this process. The open model is about reaching out to everyone who is willing to innovate for India. Right. And here we'd obviously be looking for having some kind of funding partners, some incubation partners who could then help us streamline the whole process of innovation to happen on the ground. Open model, we are still not very mature in our, I think, in our process. But yes, gradually we are heading there with the help of all of you, hopefully. Now, the kind of impact that we are intending to create, it's not just about intellectual discussions happening on Telegram. It's of course a exchange of ideas, exchange of, a healthy discussion, healthy debates always help to bring out a lot of problems on the surface, and helps us to frame the challenges, helps the core team of campaign leaders and the core team and their team to frame challenges that could be run in challenge contest. The impact that we intend to create is, we use challenge-based contests models, challenge contest-based model to activate bright minds of India to our nation. So see, innovation is obviously happening in India. It's not like innovation is not happening. People are always, there are a lot of new creative ideas that people are coming up with. What we want is that there is a lot of bright mind. There are a lot of there's a gold mine of bright minds in India. How can we channelize these bright minds to solve the real challenges that India faces? So we want to bring these two things together for Indians to come forward and solve challenges. That is why we take time to frame the challenges, and not just frame challenges just like right away. So we take our time to frame the challenge, so that once that challenge is solved, India really sees a change on the ground. So these solutions many times have high potential to create social enterprises, and sometimes if it does not have a revenue model, it could also have a high social and economic value for the country, which could be then used by governmental agencies or NGOs, could also adopt these solutions. That's the idea. Now, I'd like to also, extend our thanks, and I'd like to introduce briefly our mentors who have helped us up to now. And we're looking for more mentors to come on board to help us in this journey and support us in every way possible. Pintu Dholakia is CEO of Hare Krishna Exports. Hare Krishna is I think the largest diamond exporters of the world. Pintu Bhai is not there. I think he's gone for a meditation course starting today. So, and we have Sanjay Punjabi, who's also our mentor, and he's a president of TIE Surat, and many more, feathers on his cap. Sanjay Bhai, are you there?
I'm very much here.
Hello, please, if you would like to say a few words about your experience and inspire people who have joined here.
Probably it is a need of an hour, and we all have to make this possible. That India is on the threshold of making an innovation hub, and if you have just gone through that the last news which is pictured yesterday only, that Gujarat is a innovation. Uh, it has got a first rank in innovation activities related to the startups, and it has maintained that position in 2018 and 2019. So now we have to continue this thrust and start working on more patterns, more challenges, and more problems to be resolved, which can help the humanity at large from India. And congratulations to Amitji and Divyaji and the entire team, and those people, those who are joining the Innovate for India. Probably that you do not know that we all are trying to be a part of the history where that our contribution can have some meaningful effect in coming days. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjayji. Thank you for such inspiring words. Then we go to the next slide. I think it's about, we have a program called 3% of your time for India, and we'll be talking about it in a little bit in some time. And now I'd like to hand over, okay, one moment. I'd like to hand over to Abhimanyu, who's, which I mentioned to you. He's leading the campaign of Jal Vitran. So I'd like to hand over to Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu, you will share your screen, or?
I will share mine. I will share mine.
Yep. So I'll stop sharing, and Abhimanyu, please start with your introduction. It will be
great. That was amazing, Amitji and Divyaji, and thank you so much for enlightening the audience about what exactly Innovate for India is. Hi, I'm Abhimanyu Rathi. I'm basically a research scientist focusing on water, and I will be sharing with my presentation and talking to you about how water is impacting innovations and why innovation is important in the water sector. All right. So is everyone able to see the screen? If someone can confirm me, please.
Yes.
All right, great. तो अमित जी और दिव्या जी ने आपको बताया कि कैसे why we are framing questions, why India has a lot of questions and India has a lot of answers also. And taking that thinking forward, I'm going to talk to you about a very crucial subject, that is water. Water is something which affects us all equally. वो ना तो जाति देखता है, ना धर्म, ना जगह. And water crisis is something that has been happening forever, and we haven't been able to figure out what to do about it. So one of the central themes about Innovate for India is Jal Vitran. Jal Vitran. Vitran means dispensation as well as discussion. So Jal Vitran, where we are creating highly transformational and impactful innovations. And a famous poet, W.H. Auden, once said, "Thousands have lived without love, but not without water." So why India? Why is water critical to India? Three-fourth of India still doesn't have water on premise. तो अगर आपके घर पे नल से पानी आ रहा है, consider yourself very lucky. Of the remaining 25%, 70% get contaminated water. And these are not my figures. These are figures coming out of from government agencies. 1 billion Indians live in water scarce areas. तो अगर हमारी 135 करोड़ की आबादी है तो 100 करोड़ लोग तो वाटर स्केर्स एरिया में रह रहे हैं. And we are third from the bottom in the water index given by UN. So मामला अच्छा नहीं है and we need to work on it. Sanjay ji just talked about Gujarat, that Gujarat has come first in the innovation space, and Gujarat has been receiving the first rank for the last 3 years in Niti Aayog's water baseline report. But even in spite of that, the situation in Gujarat is not very good. And I'm taking Gujarat as a subject because it was ranked first. लगातार या तो वाटर क्राइसिस होते हैं या वाटर स्केसिटी होती है या ड्रॉट्स होते हैं. सो इफ यू कैन इमेजिन दिस इज द सिचुएशन इन वाटर, यू कैन ट्रांसलेट इन गुजरात, यू कैन ट्रांसलेट इट कि बाकी स्टेट्स में क्या हालत हो रही होगी. And that is why water is so crucial for us. So water in itself is divided into multiple themes. There's not a one size fits all for everyone. You can talk about conservation, you can talk about storage, there's filtration, generating water, and I will talk to you about each one of them. स्टार्टिंग विद कंजर्वेशन. आपने बहुत बार सुना होगा हमारे जलाशय सूख रहे हैं, हमारी नदियां सूख रही है, हमारे पॉन्ड सूख रहे हैं. बट इंडिया एज अ कंट्री वाज वन विच यूज्ड टू मेक पॉन्ड्स, यूज्ड टू मेक रिवर बॉडीज एंड टेल इट टू द एंटायर वर्ल्ड. द इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन इज वेयर द क्रिएशन ऑफ पॉन्ड स्टार्टेड. तो ये क्यों हो रहा है? सो इट्स अ चैलेंज दैट वी नीड टू एड्रेस. You can find a gentleman over here. His name is Mr. Rajendra Singh. He's often called as the waterman of India, and he has been creating waters. But his technology is driven on manual labor. तो हम manual labor को कैसे boost कर सकते हैं? That's a challenge that I am proposing. इन्हीं के तरह अनुपम मिश्रा जी, and there's a lot of people. Teri is an organization that has worked on creating ponds. So this is one challenge that comes out. सेकेंडली हम बात करते हैं रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग की. सो रेन वाटर इज, लाइक आई सेड, वाटर इज एन एंशिएंट इशू. एंड पहले से स्टेप वेल्स, जिसको बावड़ी भी कहा जाता है, एंड देयर इज अ सिटी इन गुजरात कॉल्ड वापी व्हिच लिटरली ट्रांसलेट्स इनटू पॉन्ड्स. तो पुराने जमाने में हम स्टेप वेल्स क्रिएट करते थे, रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग करते थे. व्हाई हैजंट मॉडर्न आर्किटेक्चर टेकिंग इट फॉरवर्ड? दैट इज समथिंग, दैट्स अ चैलेंज व्हिच वी नीड टू एड्रेस. हम गांवों में देखते हैं, देयर इज अ मैसिव रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग प्रोग्राम गोइंग ऑन, but why hasn't it been translating into into urban areas? And this is which we need to address. India only harvests 8% of its collected rainwater, whereas countries like USA, Germany, France, they are harvesting close to 95% of rainwater. So what can we do about it? That is what we need to focus on. लेट्स टॉक अबाउट फिल्ट्रेशन. आरओ तो लगभग सबके घर में लगा ही है, कैंडल प्यूरिफायर, एक्वागार्ड पहले चलता था, हम सब ने सुना है. बट द प्रॉब्लम विद सच डिजाइन इज दैट फॉर एवरी लीटर ऑफ वाटर प्यूरिफाइड 3 liters इज वेस्टेड. और हाल ही में नेशनल ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट के साथ में आरओस पे बैन लगाया. सो इट पोजेस अ ग्रेट चैलेंज दैट व्हाट ऑल्टरनेटिव प्यूरिफिकेशन मैकेनिज्म कैन यू प्रपोज कि हम लोग पानी बिना वेस्ट करे भी पानी को प्यूरिफाई कर सकते हैं. there's a lot of talk about desalination कि पानी को बनाया भी तो जा सकता है, we can generate it. So this photograph over here is of Mirzapur desalination plant, which is based in Tamil Nadu, and it is Asia's biggest desalination plant. But the problem with desalination is it is very energy intensive. अब अगर आपको पानी बनाने के लिए खूब सारी एनर्जी लगानी पड़े या बिजली लगानी पड़े और रिजल्टिंग पानी का कॉस्ट ही बहुत बढ़ जाए, तो वो एक सोल्यूशन नहीं है. सो इट्स अ चैलेंज दैट आई एम प्रपोजिंग एंड विच वी कैन वर्क ऑन. The answer to this could be solar-based desalination. So how would solar desalination work? The answer to water purification is something that I have personally worked on a low-cost water purifier. So there are multiple challenges in purification and water space as well. Let's talk about supply chain. जब से मोदी जी आए हैं, he has created a जल शक्ति मंत्रालय where he is working on addressing the problem of getting water to premises. And it is the world's largest scheme, 6.3 lakh crore scheme to provide water on premises to close to 90 crore people. So in spite of this जल जीवन मिशन trying to do his best, आप ये देखते हैं वाटर माफिया का प्रॉब्लम है, लोगों के घरों तक पानी नहीं जा रहा, पानी की चोरी हो जाती है. दैट्स अ बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम. सो इन दिस फोटोग्राफ यू कैन सी दैट there is a water line coming from the government supply and somebody else has illegally erected multiple water flow. तो पानी की चोरी भी एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है that we need to address. And I have posted this photograph of two gentlemen over here. One is called Gary Page and the other Gary White, and the other is Matt Damon. Matt Damon को आपने कई movies में देखा होगा, Interstellar, Good Will Hunting. So Matt Damon, their organization water.org is working in India to address the issue of water supply. But I've purposely put this photograph because I want to highlight the fact that कभी भी इंटरनेशनल फोरम्स में कोई प्रॉब्लम होता है, कोई पानी का, एवरीबडी रशेस टू इंडिया कि नहीं गरीबी है तो इंडिया में जाओ, पानी का प्रॉब्लम है तो इंडिया में जाओ. So how do we address the issue of negatively highlighting India into a bad space? Why are someone from other countries resolving this issue, and why can't Indian minds resolve this issue? So this is also a problem that we need to address urgently. Let's talk about irrigation. Government gives a minimum support price to farmers on crops they grow. तो अगर वो चावल उगाते हैं या गन्ना उगाते हैं तो उनको एक MSP मिलता है. Now the problem with MSP is that the farmers purposely grow water intensive crops because they know कि उसके लिए हमको पैसा ज़्यादा मिलेगा. To grow a kilogram of rice, you are spending close to 2,500 liters of water. So how do we tackle this problem? How do we bring in an Israel-like innovation in water via drip irrigation, via alternative resources? कैसे किया जाए? This is a challenge that I propose. Let's talk about industry as well. There's a lot of talk about going towards ZLD. So all pollution control boards, all water resource centers are telling you to move towards zero liquid discharge machineries. Now problem with ZLDs, they are capital intensive. उनमें काफी ज्यादा खर्चा लगता है, requires skilled labor. And if you do not incorporate ZLD, there's a lot of water wastage going on. So there are multiple challenges that are coming out of water space that I'm talking about: conservation, storage, filtration, irrigation, sanitation and hygiene. अभी कोरोना के टाइम में imagine you can sanitize your hand, you can clean your hands with pure water, you can use soap, you can use sanitizer. पर अगर पानी आपके यहाँ गंदा आएगा तो आप कौन सा सैनिटाइजर और कौन सा सोप यूज करोगे? So it's a massive challenge. Water itself is the biggest natural PPE. So these are the kind of challenges that I'm proposing. Now you can use technology to solve this. जैसे खाने में नमक हर चीज को अच्छा बना देता है, वैसे प्रोडक्ट में टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोडक्ट को अच्छा बना देती है. So there's a lot of work happening in AI, there's a lot of work happening in IoT. रिमोट सेंसिंग से आप पता लगा सकते हो कि पानी का लेवल कैसा है, पानी की क्वालिटी कैसी है, पानी का मॉनिटरिंग, लीकेजेस कहाँ पर है, मैनुअल स्कैवेंजिंग में जिसमें गटर में लोग उतरते हैं उन्हें नहीं उतरना पड़ेगा. So that is something. और ये एक यहाँ पे एक कार्टून टाइप देख सकते हैं आप कि आज की तारीख में हालत ऐसी हो गई कि यू कैन गेट पेप्सी फॉर 10 rupees, but to buy a water bottle you have to spend 15 to 20 rupees. So there's an immense challenge. There are solutions as well, and there are challenges as well that we need to sit down, we need to ideate, we need to focus on what the right kind of challenges are, and then work on it. So this is the Jal Vitran team. This is Abhimanyu Rathi that I was speaking. The other members are Vardhan. There is Neha, who is an independent consultant in sustainability sector. There's Avani, who is a student of PDPU. Vardhan had previously worked with Virgil Paints and is now full-time joined SLI. And this is myself. So knowing the first step towards solving any problem is realizing there is one. And once you realize the problem, you need to know that your problem is well defined. And that is where we come into picture, and that is how we want to solve this, or solve all the issues, not just water, but all the issues.
At this point, we'll open it up for any questions from Abhimanyu related.
Yeah, great. That would be great. If anybody has any questions to ask me related to water sector, related to why we are addressing the water challenges, how water is impacting your lives on a day-to-day basis, or would like to join us, join our mission, please feel free to talk to us, or post your questions on the chat forum.
मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है कि केंजन वाटर बारे में आपका क्या ख्याल है?
सर टेक्नोलॉजी अच्छी है, शॉर्ट टाइम के लिए बहुत अच्छा है, उसको यूज करना चाहिए. अगर आप मेरे पर्सनल लेवल पे बात कर रहे हैं, कोई भी इनोवेशन आता है वो हेल्थ केयर से रिलेटेड है तो अच्छा है, पर लॉन्ग टर्म उसको मत यूज कीजिएगा. उसके पीछे काफी सारे रीजंस हैं हेल्थ केयर रिलेटेड.
क्या रीजंस है?
वाटर नेचुरली सर, मैं एक्चुअल में साइंटिफिक है तो मैं ब्रीफ रखूंगा इसको, बाद में बात कर सकते हैं इस बारे में. पर वाटर साइंटिफिकली कहा गया है कि उसका पीएच न्यूट्रल रहना चाहिए. अगर आप पीएच के साथ या कोई भी नेचुरल प्रोसेस के साथ ज्यादा खिलवाड़ करेंगे लंबे टाइम के लिए तो बॉडी उसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेगी. तो शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए 2-3 महीने आप कीजिए, अच्छा है, पर लॉन्ग टर्म मत कीजिए, मेरा सजेशन है.
ठीक है, ठीक. Good.
Thank you, Manu. There's someone on the chat box which says, can we achieve ZLD in CTP?
Uh, People are trying to achieve ZLD in CTP until now it has not been possible because of the kind of effluent that is coming out, and then the effluent you have to retreat it. But I think so in future there are possibilities with graphene, there are possibilities with a crop called kenaf. So maybe in a year or two we would be achieving ZLD in CTP as well. Yeah. Rainwater harvesting for personal users. See, this is the most terrific thing if we can do that. And rainwater harvesting should be the new normal going forward. Kerala is a state जिसके अंदर rainwater harvesting को compulsory कर दिया गया है हाल ही के दिनों में. So it should happen. It must happen. When will it happen? It depends on people how they adopt it. Yeah.
So, sorry, I posed that question.
Okay. Okay.
How do you think, like, what could be the simple steps that a government can take, or someone like some company like yours could take to see that something is done in this area forward? Because we already have one state, as you mentioned, that's really good. So we have an example already set. So how can an organization at a small level and try and influence the government to take some step?
So the first step towards doing this is approaching the building bylaws. So how Kerala did is that they modified their building bylaws and they asked anyone who is going to register for a new bungalow that it should be compulsory that 15% of their energy requirement should come from renewable energy and some form of rainwater harvesting should be there. So even with government, you need to give them a solution and then they will proceed with their policy making. So bungalows is something it can be easily done. Industrial level is something it can be easily done. Flats can that they are trying to work out how it can be done. So you have to come up with innovation. You have to tell government that this is the way it can be done. This is the policy change that requires to be done, and government has to say to it. Any positive thing. We are a socialist country, not a capitalist country. So government has to say yes to it. So that is the way of
So,
approaching it.
is there a particular project that you're really concentrating, wanting to concentrate now, right now, like going forward? Like, is there a particular project that really you think is something that you would concentrate on?
Is this with respect to rainwater harvesting?
No. Your the general presentation that you gave, you
Okay.
touched upon many
Right.
aspects of water. So,
Right.
what is it that you guys are really looking at concentrating on?
All right. So we've started with water purification, and the reason for starting with water purification was that the Nal Se Jal scheme is going to provide water to all the people. But Nal se पानी तो आ जाएगा, पर वो साफ पानी होगा कि नहीं? That is something tricky. So water purification is something we are working. We have also created a low-cost, frugal water purifier. It's called Vardhan. The Vardhan water purifier. You can know more about us on our website slii.in. So purification is something that we are focusing on right now.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'd just like to add something here. Sonali was talking, right?
Right.
Yeah, so Sonali, basically the whole idea of Innovate for India is that once we've identified this campaign of water, now there are a lot of challenges that we will be framing around water. And once those challenges are framed, they will be out for people of India to come up with innovative solutions. So there is not that we are working on one. We are not in the solution. We are not actually going to do any solutions. We're only going to facilitate the solutions through the two models that I mentioned to you. One was the university model, and the other one is the open market model. So even you could come forward in the open open innovation model, where you can say, I have a very great solution or an idea to solve this problem that we have launched for crowdsourcing.
So hi Divya. So I was just thinking that yes, if you could have questions, you could have probably ideas and solutions as well. But what about the execution? Like who? So I just wanted to know what after that. What about this execution part? You plan to help in the execution as well?
Yes, totally. Because otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. So how we want to position ourselves is that we, one moment, I'd like to share one slide at this point. One moment. So what we want to do is we want to build an ecosystem wherein we want to initiate all the innovation that is already happening in India. We want the innovation should happen where India needs innovation. So I'll just share my screen to show you where exactly we are. Although it was not part of the presentation, we didn't take it. But since you asked the question, I'd like to share this. Do you all see my screen?
Yes, I can see it. Yeah.
So what we want to focus on is in the social impact. We are in the beginning. So we are in the point of situation scanning in India. So when we pick up water or waste, we want to scan what has already happened. See, as an example of waste, because it's very much understandable by most people, one could think, we want to have innovations in plastic recycling. But then once we really dig down into it, we realize that there are a lot of solutions that exist in plastic recycling. The problem lies more in the segregation space, because once the waste is segregated, and no waste is waste actually. So there are already innovations that have happened in plastic. In fact, there is one person in our group who shared a very innovative product they came up with, a replacement of single-use plastic bags, which can be melted in water, hot water.
Yeah, I think sir had shared that link. Green Plast, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the point is that we want to, go drill down to the point as to where innovations have happened and maybe scale is needed, or what is the root cause, and then we want to frame the challenges. So here we do the scanning. Here we frame the challenges. We invite ideas, whether it's in the university model or the open model. Once there are ideas, they go to the solution. So this is the go to product phase. And in a typical startup model, go to product or go to they could be building a prototype of a product, or they could be building a model. Beyond this, our role pretty much ends here, but we don't want that. We have to have some participation in building the whole ecosystem. So we are looking for partnerships to build, for with incubations, and
Okay.
so that it could really be, once these solutions and models really win the grant, which is, so grant winning will happen through our process. Once they win a grant, they are adopted, or basically supported or mentored by incubation partners. And at the same time, then further, if there is a government support that's needed, so we are looking for a lot of ecosystem partners in this space, so that
Exactly. Okay.
go to ground and go to nation and scale could really happen.
So in what I understand is that from the product or the model stage, you will kind of show them the direction, or you could even probably mentor them to the level that they actually find someone to partner with. Or
as an example, what we have done is currently that we are talking to NASCOM, and we are doing an MOU with NASCOM, because this linking the unlinked challenge, for example, is very much related to internet and technology. Okay. And so with that MOU, as an example, the current contest that we are running in a college, there will be 4 winners. And there is a very high likelihood that these 4 winners will be accepted by NASCOM. And then NASCOM will nurture them through the process until their company gets incorporated. Right?
Great. Right. Got it.
Yeah. So and there's no and that doesn't mean that NASCOM will do all the incubation, because we are working in 4 areas right now. NASCOM will not be interested in rural India, for example. For rural India, we'll have a different ecosystem partner. For water, we'll have a different ecosystem partner. For waste management, we'll have a different ecosystem partner. So depending on the campaign and the solution type, the ecosystem partner will keep changing.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, okay, now we go to Guramrita, and she's leading the Rural Connect. Guramrita, over to you.
Hi. Yes, so finally we log in. I had a bit of an adventure.
It was very strange. Everyone was appearing with the same name. So
Yes.
I'll share the screen.
That'll be great. That'll be.
One second. You emailed it to me, right? Just now?
Yes. Mailed it to both you and Amit just a couple of minutes ago.
Okay, fine. Yes, so I'll open the one from here. All right, I'm sharing my screen. So please tell me if you all can see it. You can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Good
Please
morning.
start with your introduction.
Yes. Hello to all of you. My name is Guramrita, and thank you, Amrit and Divya, for giving us this opportunity. And I'm leading the campaign Rural Connect. So I missed some interesting conversations. Probably I'll catch up on that on YouTube later. So before I begin with that, what is Rural Connect and how we came up with this campaign, I'd love to hear from all of you. If you can see the screen, that what do you think this campaign is about? Would love to hear from you. What do you think? What does the name suggest to you? Right. I'd love to hear, what does Rural Connect suggest to you, what this campaign is about?
Reaching out with technology to rural area.
All right, that's interesting.
Reducing the technology gap.
Okay, lovely. Digital Connect. All right. Connection between urban and rural. All right, that's nice. Okay, great. So, all right, yes, what you all said is absolutely right. And this is what we are doing, and a little bit more. So can I request Divya to move to the next slide? Leveraging the lives of rural. Yes. Okay, so I think Divya, there's a bit of a disconnection here, but anyways, I think this slide is good. So Rural Connect actually is exploring how rural tourism can be used to bridge the gap between the urban and the rural India, right? So we have some figures appearing on the slide here. And this was a study done by a professor of an institute based in Delhi. And this is a sample size of study to check the awareness of rural tourism, which people have in our country. And as per this study, 26% of population in India, they don't know what rural tourism is. 75% responded that they are interested to know more about rural tourism, and 86% felt that it will be a win-win situation. It will be a win situation both for the rural and the urban society. So we found these numbers quite interesting. Yes, can we move to the next slide? All right. So talking about tourism, of course, has been given a lot of focus in our country, and especially so in the last decade. We believe that Indians have actually become adventurous. People are traveling a lot. They are spending a lot on tourism. And this slide just talks about a few numbers as to what are we expecting from tourism as an industry in the coming few years. So government is coming up with a lot of schemes like the Swadesh Darshan scheme. A lot of projects are coming in. We are targeting a lot of foreign tourists. We've allocated, in the last point up, we are saying that we've allocated about 1,200 crores for the development of tourist circuits under this scheme. So to say that tourism in itself has a lot of potential, and in it rural tourism, which for some reasons hasn't gained a lot of popularity in our country, has a lot of potential too. So we can move to the next slide. Okay, so what is Rural Connect, right? So Rural Connect is basically how can we explore rural tourism to get a sustainable revenue generating model for rural development. So to say that how can we make rural India a lot more attractive to the urban India? So what we have seen so far is that rural population travels to the urban cities are getting choked up because they don't have much opportunity besides agriculture for income generation. So we are saying that how can we have the urban population who's willing to spend and who's willing to spend on travel, move back to the rural India and travel there and generate a lot of income opportunities for the rural. This will help, like I said, prevent migration of rural people to the urban, because a lot of rural have already migrated to the urban. And what we are doing through rural tourism and rural connect is to ensure sustainable economical development. It's not at the cost of spoiling the ecology of the rural India, but to develop it further. We move to the next slide. Okay, so we believe that rural tourism is actually a sustainable tourism, which can help us tap into the resources of the rural regions. So like we've mentioned earlier, that it's about generating it's about increasing rural employment, improving the distribution of wealth, conservation of rural environment and culture. And it is also a very interesting way of for us to adapt the traditional beliefs of the rural India. Yeah, next. Okay, so this slide is actually, it says it all. So we have a wealth in the rural, from the beautiful scenic wealth to the agriculture, horticulture, wildlife, yoga, Ayurveda, cultural assets, which are not really tapped enough, right? We know that we have 70% of population sitting in the rural India, sitting in the wealth of this nature and beauty, which is not being tapped enough. So hence we see the next slide. There's a lot of potential for natural tourism, cultural tourism, health tourism, ecotourism, agro-tourism, and volunteer tourism. In Indian families, we take a lot of pride when what we hear is that a lot of Indians are traveling abroad. We go to the West and we go to these beautiful countryside villages, and we take pride in, traveling to Western countryside. So it'll be lovely to have a conversation for the Indian audience, where in our yearly holiday calendar, we can look at traveling to a rural town. And actually, I feel it's also a great way for our generation, our young generation, to connect to our roots, because our ancestors, they came from the rural India. So I think it'll be a great way for us to tap into this aspect of rural tourism and let the future generation and the current young generation know the hidden gems of the rural. So having said that, Rural Connect, while this campaign is here to make the rural more attractive to the urban India, it can have a lot of positive impact on these three aspects, which is the social culture aspects, the economic, and the environmental aspects. So would anybody want to give some ideas as to what do you think could be the impact of rural tourism on the economic, socio-culture, and environmental aspects of rural India? I would love to hear from you.
Most about socio-cultural impact, I would like to say that having the conversation with the rural India brings, it means it reduces a communication gap, and directly it is a rural connection with urban areas. with rural and urban areas का एक अच्छा connection वहाँ establish हो जाता है socio-cultural events से like.
बिल्कुल. Anybody else would love to hear from you. What do you think would be the impact to the rural India, the social, culture, economic, or environmental through this campaign? So talking about economic, yes, we've discussed that if the urban will travel to the rural, it's an opportunity for rise in employment, which means more income, which means more schools, hospitals, a lot of public services, roads being built in the rural India. Local businessmen can generate a lot more income from selling their goods. Environmentally, the urban can go to the rural, and the rural can learn how to preserve natural habitats, the biodiversity parks, historical monuments, and the rural India could learn some bit about health and hygiene from the urban. On the socio-cultural impact, besides what you already shared with us, we can look at a lot of cultural exchange programs, culture fairs, and there are certain unserving traditions and beliefs of the rural India, which they can learn how to let go of and learn something from the modern. Yes.
I had a little concern. I think that, we've many times seen that the urban going and traveling to the rural areas actually could have negative environmental impact as well.
Yes, yes. You're absolutely right there. So this is what when I started the conversation, I said, while we want the urban to go to the rural, there is less infrastructure. We know that a lot of law and order is not placed for us to easily access. Having said that, we also want to ensure that it is all ecological and sustainable, that we do not go there and destroy the rural India. We need to harness their resources and take them to the next level rather than destroying what we have done to our cities. So that is not what we are looking at. We're looking at a lot of ideas and thoughts from all of you here. How can we use tourism at the same time maintain the sanctity and the natural preserves of the rural India?
So how could we get in touch with you? I would be personally interested in this and to get in touch with you in some way.
Yes, lovely. So you can join us on our Telegram group. I'm sure Amit and Divya will be sharing a link, and we have a lot of conversations. In fact, we need to be in touch with people like you because we are dealing with a lot of questions, and the campaign we've taken up has a lot of aspects to it. It's not about just setting up a tourist spot in the rural India. We need to do a lot of work around it. So please join us on the Telegram group, and I will introduce my colleagues to you as well, our team, and we'd love to have conversation.
I just shared the Telegram group on the chat. So if any one of you wants to join, please go ahead.
Yes. Now moving to the next. So like you said, there are a lot of challenges. There are going to be a lot of challenges. Having said that, there will be certain essentials we'll need to put in place, which means creation of infrastructure, some policies. We need people to invest in the rural India. We need law and order so that it is safe to travel, and we need a lot of support from the government too. Okay, so we have a lot of questions, and we've just put a few in front of you for all of you to help us innovate and ideate. So what is the potential of rural tourism? If we can do a little deep dive and dig into it, what is the impact of rural tourism to our society? Can we identify the various challenges and opportunities in rural tourism? How do we build confidence in safety and security of travelers to rural India? One is urban traveling to rural. Also, how can we do the otherwise? How can we build confidence in the rural India that we are not going to destroy their place? We are doing it for their benefit. How can we plan a more sustainable growth for rural tourism in India? And how can we leverage technology for all of this? How can we develop rural tourism for protecting natural resources? and local heritage. Yeah. All right. So this is our team, and I'd like to introduce you to Ritu. Then there is Nikita, there is Kabir, Nikhil, and Kanishk. All of us have a lot of variety of experience coming in, but one thing which joins us all is this passion for travel and adventure. So we have people from off-roading background, there are bikers, TSD rallies, into mountaineering, and a lot more. And yes, so we are all here together to drive this campaign with the help of all of you. And you can chat up with all our colleagues, listen to their lovely adventurous stories, and take this on from there. All right. I thought this was very relevant for all of us who came together for this campaign. You know, they say if you figure out your purpose, you can figure out your passion, and for your passion will lead you to your purpose. So for all of us, our passion into adventure, our passion into traveling, and doing tourism in terms of a hobby for us has led us to this purpose, and hence we all are here as a team to take this campaign forward.
Thank you so much, Guru Amrita. I'd just like to share one experience of my own in the rural India, and it was just last December. We were in Saputara, and we, happened to see this grassroots poster who was offering a day tour or a trip to the rural India, so rural village called Bharatpani nearby. And we went and spent about 5 to 6 hours with them, had meal with them. And I realized, Amrita, there could be some interesting models that can be made in this rural tourism without, without much of investment also. Just to see how they live with such meager resources, and the environment is so beautiful. Everyone is just so friendly with everyone. Walking into this village was a 200 people village, not a very big one, and 200 families or 200 people. 200 people, yeah. So, and we could just, like, everyone knew everyone, and we visited the school. We spent so much time in the farms, and we just could pick up those beans and just eat them raw, and just the immersion into their life for one day was just so beautiful for me and my son, and Amit, we had a great time. So they could also be great models that can be built to without much of investment, really.
True.
And what he charged was, so there was a fee described that we were supposed to pay to him. So we paid about 2,000 rupees to him. I mean, 1,000 rupees was the fees, but we paid 1,000.
1,000 is what was charged. By them, yeah.
Okay, and the farmer family earned 6,000 rupees a month. So their normal income was 6,000 rupees a month, on top 1,000 from us, like in one weekend. And maybe if people like us go there practically every weekend, then it's 4,000 rupees on top of 6,000 that he could make. Right. So for them, it's a considerable increase in income.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of scope of volunteer tourism too, because there are a lot of NGOs and a lot of work needs to be done. And it's not only for us to go and enjoy their natural scenic resources. When a tourist goes there as a volunteer, you can do some skill building, teach people hygiene conversation. There is much as volunteers also we can do. And it's really catching up in India, volunteer tourism. But it's not marketed too well.
Yeah. So now for the audience here, we will be soon launching a challenge on rural tourism. You are invited to participate in that. If that's an open market challenge, we are still contemplating whether it's an open market challenge or a university challenge. But if it's an open market challenge, then you're invited to participate as a solver, as an innovator in that challenge. And Guru Amrita will keep you updated on that. So thank you, Guru Amrita, on this. Now we briefly go to Prasad. Prasad has not started his campaign yet, but he's soon to start. Maybe you can say a few words about yourself and the campaign you are willing to start.
Prasad, are you there?
Yeah, I was just unmuting myself.
Okay.
So, yeah, hello to everybody. My name is Prasad Sant, and I'm very happy to be part of this initiative, working with like-minded people, learning a lot, going beyond what your basic work or family or friends related thing is, and figuring out what is it that you can give back to society and to your country. My basic background is in technology, combination of engineering and technology actually. So by profession, I'm an instrumentation engineer, and I've spent a long time in industrial and building automation related work. And in the last maybe decade or so, working in a technology space called Internet of Things, which some of you might have heard about. So obviously the challenge or the campaign that I'm formulating with Amit and the rest of the team, we are calling it as Connected India. And that is basically to do with Connected India is to do with technology and how technology can make a difference to the lives of people around us. So that is the broad campaign or the broad contour, and we need to really define it further and get into specifics, which we will be doing in the coming days. But all of us know that technology is a very, very integral part of everybody's lives. And in fact, all the other campaigns that my other colleagues talked about, whether it is water or whether it is the rural connect or whether it is waste management, waste to wealth, everywhere there will be a technology aspect and a technology angle. So we will be working with these campaigns to see how the technology can play a positive impact in these campaigns as well. And then we will be launching our own campaigns as well. So that is something that we are working on, and we will take it forward in the coming days. All the people who are here on this group, if any of you have a background in technology or have a passion or a flair for technology, feel free to join us, reach out to me, and we can, get going in terms of creating a pool of like-minded people. Thank you, and look forward to interacting with you all.
So I'll be sharing a common group of Telegram at this point. So anyone of you who wants to connect with Prasad, they could do it through that group as well. One moment, I'll be sharing one last slide before we open for an open discussion with everyone. Do you all see my screen?
Yeah, hi everyone. So we have a campaign called Waste to Wealth. So in the Waste to Wealth campaign, this is how our team looks like. We have Madhukar Varshne from Delhi. He's the director of Rise Foundation. Madhukar, are you there?
Hello, Amit.
Hi, Madhukar. Please say a few words about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Madhukar Vashne from Delhi, primarily technology background, and now I'm a sort of a early retirement from my technology thing, and I saw the issue of waste management in India is not handling well, and so I thought let me try also, and I started a small venture, and we are doing a lot of waste management related community awareness for many years. And now I started small products around waste management for individuals and for community purposes. And along with, we are discussing on the problem areas in waste management. What are the challenges people are facing? Like in other campaigns, we are in the phase of deriving the problems and finalizing the question sets for different purposes. And we are primarily focusing on solid waste management, which is again basically organic waste in the cities, because many other streams are handled by many people across India, whether it is plastic waste, whether it is electronic waste or hazardous waste. So we are currently focusing on solid waste or organic waste in urban cities primarily, which is a big challenge because 60 to 70% of the waste which goes to landfill today is organic waste, which is primarily your kitchen waste. So we are working on that. And thank you, Amit, for joining me in the group. I was looking very long to have such sort of conversation between the people, because waste management is a sort of a not discussed topic, although it is an essential service in the country now. Thank you, Amit.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Madhuka. Then we have Veenal. Veenal is a member of Paryavaran Mitra. He could not be here today, given that he had another important assignment this morning. But Paryavaran Mitra in Ahmedabad is a phenomenal organization. Look at their videos on YouTube. You will see the impact that they're making. Then we have Abhishek here. Abhishek, you want to say a few words about yourself? Be as short as possible.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abhishek Chajer. I'm from Bharuch, Gujarat, and I'm also the co-founder of RecycleX. So at RecycleX, we are developing products like paver blocks and tiles from waste such as plastic waste, fly ash, any industrial waste, and construction and demolition waste. So we have come up with a product which is feasible, sustainable, and eco-friendly. And we are starting our journey, and we really soon starting our production. And I'm very grateful to Amit sir to start this program and initiative to make India better, which is very kind of him to spend his time, valuable time on this. So I'll keep it short, and it's good to join you all, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Abhishek. So now we are towards the end of this presentation. Just to
Sir, if I may interrupt, Sonali here. I just wanted to ask this team that I don't know, in between a couple of friends of mine and me, we were just discussing that we have all these shampoo bottles and all those plastic, every month they are discarded. Is there a way that any of the organization mentioned in the group are doing something about that? Where we were actually finding some this thing to discard of that kind of plastic waste, which is all these shampoo bottles and all these beauty product bottles.
I mean, we may look at that challenge. So as I said, that we are largely not about making solutions. As Innovate for India, people in individual capacities may always work on certain solutions. But at Innovate for India, we are largely about creating challenges, challenge contests, and this may become one of the challenge in future. I know a couple of other organizations. L'Oreal recently launched a challenge on shampoo bottles. And last week they also announced, and actually it ended last week. And last week they announced three winners from India. I currently do not know what solutions they proposed, but essentially this is being worked upon by some other organizations. And if necessary, we can also create more challenge contests based on that. Yeah. Now, to continue with the next or the last portion of today's talk. I mean, thanks very much for your listening, going through all the sessions. I think it was wonderful to have you. You can also participate with us. In a way, you could join us as campaign leaders. You could actually become an innovator or a problem solver. You could join the campaign as a researcher in the core team. So like Guramrita showed, there are 6 people in her core team. In Waste to Wealth, I showed 4 people in my core team. Abhimanyu showed there are 4 people in his core team. So Abhimanyu is the campaign leader. Then he has 3 researchers who do a lot of research work and help him in building the challenges. So there are a lot of opportunities for you to join us. So you reach out to us on the email ID that is written there, outreach@innovate4india.org. And if you have, so currently we have 2 mentors. If you are a very senior experienced person with a lot of network around the state or on a country level, or you have capabilities to create grants and funds for some of our challenge contests, you can also become our mentor. Currently we have 2 mentors in that. As an institution also, you can join us. You can become a challenge partner. If your organization has a challenge that needs solutions from all over India, variety of solutions or diverse solutions, you could become a challenge partner. If you're a university, example, Sarvajanik College in Surat has become our university partner. Oro is going to become our university partner. Thanks to Sanjay ji for making that happen. And a lot more universities are approaching us right now to become, so that we can launch the challenges in the college space and build a culture of innovation in the college space. And maybe these students one day will become innovators and start their own social enterprises. If you're an incubation center, you can become our incubation partner. If you're knowledgeable about a particular area, which leads to sustainable development across India, like water, like climate, like environment, like waste, poverty, hunger, infrastructure, anything. If you have knowledge on that particular area, you are welcome to become a knowledge partner. And last but not least, if you want to fund our contest. Example, one organization in Surat has approached us with a CSR fund, that they have a CSR fund of about 15 lakh rupees, and they want to use that fund to create a contest. So we are currently working on the formalities for that. So if you're a funding partner, you can always approach us, and using your funds, we may be able to create a challenge contest to build a culture of innovation in India. So that's how you can get involved with us. With that, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your time. I hope it was useful for you. I hope Innovate4India makes sense for you. And I hope you will have a strong contribution and you will join us in future. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Amit. And you can email us on outreach@innovate.org. I'll also message that on the chat. We'd like to open up for any kind of discussions, questions, clarifications, feedback, suggestions, expectations. If the team members could open their cameras at least, and the others are also welcome to, so we can see the entire team of Innovate4India and all the people who are joining as well. So any questions? Is waste a common topic for a Sunday morning discussions for you all?
Divya, please share the links, Telegram link for Connected India as well as Waste to Wealth.
Connected India, we've not yet formed, but I will. What I'll do is I'll share the link of the common Telegram group.
I have one question. That we launched our first campaign with SCAT, right, in Surat. So for the upcoming programs, which university we are having tie-ups, because if the contest is big, then we can have many entries.
Correct. So we are currently talking to Oro University, and they have shown initial interest in the rural challenge, the rural connect, the rural tourism challenge. But we are also contemplating that instead of launching just in the university model, maybe we are able to make it open market, so that we have more experienced people becoming solvers. And now that depends a lot. That depends a lot on the amount of grant that we can create for that challenge. So that needs to be discussed. So we will discuss with Gurimrita in the next days on how do we structure it. But that is something that is likely to come up. Great. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Any other questions anyone has? We still have 2-3 minutes. We can extend it by 5 minutes also.
Well, I actually thought that I would discuss in person, but I was really interested in the Rural Connect thing. So one of the things you said, that knowledge partners. So, I was looking, at as crafts as a way. So I have been exposed to, maybe travel abroad, or where we have seen that if there are particular craft clusters, or, even in India, for that matter, that craft and the food, the local food, they are all connected. And then the tourism is actually based. So something like what you said, like a workshop or a tour, a one-day tour, one-day excursion that actually explores that. So that is some kind of a thing that I would probably want to get involved. So I thought I would talk to them personally.
Yeah, we'd love to have us. So connect with us on Telegram, and then you and me can probably catch up on a call. Would love to hear.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Thank you.
Yes, looking forward to speak to you.
Yeah, thanks.
Any other new campaigns that come to the mind of people who have joined here? Things that you are experts in or you tend to see in India?
I'm sorry, I'm the only one talking, but there was this one thing that I was in touch with Miss Leena Kejriwal. She is looking into child trafficking in a she's very involved in it. And I just happened to meet Miss Meena Mehta again in Surat, who told me that there are 60,000 women sex workers in Surat, and the plight is very bad. And that was last year. I wanted to get involved, try to do something. Maybe even food is a challenge for them. So it goes into a social work scenario, not innovation per se, but how I could use, craft or other ways or means to make livelihoods for such women. I'm sure they have other talents and they have, nobody who's ready to explore that with them. So this is one thing that is definitely there in my mind. If this kind of project would come under the Innovate for India.
No, definitely, definitely. As we said, that there could be social enterprises with or without direct economic value for, so in a case where, there is an enterprise or a model that you come up with, once we have the challenge, there we expect, we don't want one person to come up with the model. We want many models to come out with the challenge. And, the winning models could then either be adopted by the NGOs or the government agencies. So whenever we are framing that challenge, we make sure that the ecosystem around it is ready, so that the necessity.
That's actually the best part of it, because I had so many ideas, but then I feel too small, or maybe you get caught up in your own work, right? You don't have. So then at that idea stage pe hi wo reh jata hai. So this is very good, where our questions and our ideas form part of a bigger ecosystem where everybody's ideas are put together and then the solution is worked out. So I think it's a very nice way that you guys have made the model of this.
Thank you so much. You've been very inspiring. So we can definitely touch on that, trafficking topic, and you can bring this person you mentioned and in contact with us, and we can definitely, see if there's some new campaign that can be started around that. Definitely.
Thank you.
Anyone else has any other ideas or topics that they are very passionate about and we did not cover today?
एजुकेशन के रिगार्डिंग कोई मॉडल बना है या फिर कोई ग्रुप है जहाँ पे बात होती हो, ग्रास रूट लेवल एजुकेशन?
Fateh, you're
Primary
from
education mostly.
Okay, so yeah, I mean
SVNIT.
SVNIT, right. I think we've touched base before.
I'm a student at SVNIT.
Education is definitely any जो new education policy आई है उसके related भी there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And what exactly is your idea? Can you explain?
लाइक एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म हो प्रोवाइडेड कि जहाँ पे बात होती है इस टॉपिक के ऊपर, अपना कोई ग्रुप हो जो इस टॉपिक में बात करता हो, थोड़ा ये कॉमन थिंकर्स मिलके थोड़ा ग्रास रूट लेवल आइडियाज, और जो मैं थोड़े टाइम पहले पढ़ रहा था जो इकोनॉमिक थिंकर्स भी थे कुछ लोग जिन्होंने ग्रास रूट लेवल चीज़ों पे बात की थी, फॉर एग्जांपल हेल्थ केयर, एजुकेशन एंड ऑल, तो उनको जब मैं पढ़ रहा था तो पता चला कि काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक था और पहले भी काफ़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस ने काम किया है, तो क्यों ना उसको एक काइंड ऑफ थोड़ा रिसर्च फील्ड से देखा जाए। तो ऐसा अगर ग्रुप अगर कहीं मिले जिनसे मैं कन्वर्सेशन कर सकूं साथ साथ में, बिकॉज अभी मैं थोड़ा गांव में इतना ज़्यादा कनेक्टेड नहीं, थोड़ा स्टक फील कर रहा था, तो एक प्लेटफॉर्म के लिए ढूंढ रहा था।
So I'll suggest you to join our common Innovate for India group. There are four, 5 links that I shared. You join there. There are some 200 people who are passionate about India and Innovate for India. You put up this question, and let's see if maybe there are 5 people who come together and a team can be formed.
Sure.
So join the Telegram group and let's initiate the conversation there.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other ideas? We have last 1 minute before we leave.
The grassroots thing, मेरे ख्याल से हमारे जितने भी innovations है, फतेह जी किसने पूछा, all are going to be attached to grassroots. मतलब आप जल वितरण की बात करें तो पानी का है तो वो भी हम रूरल के थ्रू जाने वाले हैं, चाहे रूरल कनेक्ट की बात करें तो उसमें भी हम ग्रास रूट की बात करेंगे। तो आपकी बात बिल्कुल सही है, कई ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस उस पर काम भी कर रहे हैं, तो आप मल्टीपल जितने भी हमारे ग्रुप्स हैं उन सबको ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं और आपके जो भी व्यूज हैं वो रख सकते हैं या शेयर कर सकते हैं, और हम भी शेयर करेंगे आपके साथ कैसे क्या हो सकता है।
हाँ जी। अभिमन्यु जी, वाटर रिसोर्सेज पे भी काफी थोड़ा रिसर्च भी किया था, लाइक इसराइल की केस स्टडीज काफी पढ़ी थी, और फिर
ग्रेट।
जो डिसैलिनाइजेशन टेक्निक्स है, और उनकी एक जो किताब है लेट देयर बी वाटर बाय सेथ सेगल साहब की है,
बिल्कुल।
अगर आपने सुना हो थोड़ा।
जी जी।
तो इसराइल मतलब कैसे 1948 में वो आज़ाद हुआ था इसराइल, और तब से लगाकर नेक्स्ट 10 years में 10 times से 15 times लगभग पॉपुलेशन बूम हुआ था।
हाँ हाँ।
एंड एज वी ऑल नो, इसराइल इज अ वाटर स्कैर्स कंट्री विद 60% डेजर्ट एरिया।
राइट।
सो ऐसा नहीं है कि जो जैसे राजस्थान की यूजुअली बात होती है कि एक ड्राई डेजर्ट एरिया है, यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा एक जरूरत है इस चीज की कि वाटर स्कैर्सिटी की, बट
राइट।
इसको एक पॉजिटिव पर्सपेक्टिव से ऐसे देख सकते हैं, क्योंकि फ्यूचर सोल्यूशन जो आ रहा है वो डेजर्ट एग्रीकल्चर आ रहा है
सही बात
इन
है।
द रिसर्च फील्ड, एग्रीकल्चर, और इसमें डेजर्ट एग्रीकल्चर। तो क्यों ना उन चीजों पे देखा जाए, रादर देन कि वो सारे सॉल्यूशंस यूज करे जो कि आज नहीं तो कल बहुत ही जल्द डिस्कार्ड होने वाले हैं।
सही बात
आई
है।
मीन जो एक तरह से कह सकते हैं अमेरिकन वे है, बड़े
हाँ
तौर पे देखें तो वो सारी चीजें ये यूज कर रही, तो डिस्कार्ड की जा रही थोड़े टाइम बाद। तो क्यों ना एक स्ट्रॉन्ग सॉल्यूशंस देखे जाए जहाँ पे अपने पास अवेलेबिलिटी है। बस मैं ये कहना चाह रहा था
नहीं, आपकी बात
कि
बिल्कुल
जो
सही
एक
है।
स्ट्रॉन्ग सॉल्यूशन है।
जी। ये आपकी बात बिल्कुल सही है, मैं चाहूंगा आप सारे ग्रुप ज्वाइन करें, आपके व्यूज रखिए, तो दूसरे भी उस पर
श्योर
डिस्कस कर पाएंगे। डेजर्ट इरिगेशन इसराइल ने बहुत अच्छा मॉडल हमारे सामने रखा है, तो इंडिया में भी रेप्लिकेट होना चाहिए। तो आप ज्वाइन कीजिए, ग्रुप व्यूज रखिए, तो हम बात करते हैं उस बारे में आगे।
श्योर श्योर, थैंक यू सो मच।
थैंक यू।
All right, then I think it's time for us to end. And this first meeting that we had about Innovate for India, we intend to have regular conversations with you all. I will ask you to join our, our social media channels. Most of them are with the name of Innovate for India, and join us and stay in touch with us. And the best way to stay in touch with us is Telegram. You'll probably have to download the Telegram to join us, but please do that, and hope to see a lot of more innovations coming from India in an exponential way through Innovate for India. Thank you. Amit, you'd like to say something?
Yeah, thanks a lot, everyone. I think it was a wonderful morning to share our thoughts with you all. I personally really enjoyed sharing all the thoughts and also listening to all the other campaign leaders on what they are thinking. There was also a lot of learning for me today by listening to others. Let's stay connected. We'll keep in touch. We'll keep announcing our next meetups on our Telegram groups. Do join us and share your views there as well. The next meetups will be largely subject matter, oriented. That will be very specific to specific campaigns. And so looking forward to a little more deep dive on these topics that we discussed today. So with that, thank you all, and hope to see you soon. And maybe just the campaign leaders can stay back so that we could have a short chat for 5 minutes. And for others, thank you. Enjoy a great Sunday, and see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
नहीं नहीं
बट हो सकता है तेरा टीम का भी हो।
Hi everyone.
Hi, Amit.
I thought because all the campaign leaders have not seen each other, so it's a chance to see each other.
Should we stop the live?
Yes.